In this episode of Shipwrecked, we are joined by two of our good friends, Joe and Sergito. Joe Saavedra is the founder and CEO of Infinite Objects, and Sergito is the founder of Seize the Meebs. We dive into the founding of Infinite Objects, Sergito's love of meebits, the importance of personal finance, galleries selling digital art in a world before NFTs, and so much more. As always, this podcast is for entertainment purposes only and should not be relied upon for investment decisions. Deeze, and guests may own NFTs discussed.
I'm just saying. All right. Everybody, welcome to another episode of Shipwrecked. Even though we started this podcast when we were in a bear market, I don't know if we're
not shipwrecked.
I don't know.
Maybe we're like finding a lifeboat. Like maybe there's a helicopter over the wreckage.
Kind of like, or maybe we like threw a flare and we see like a boat in the distance.
Maybe it's a mirage. Like
right.
we just haven't eaten.
We're not
in days
sure yet. Yeah, exactly. So we feel like the bull market's back. So,
yes.
But we're
back.
We're still shipwrecked. We might have to change the name if it becomes a bull market.
Okay.
We are here with two amazing people, Sergito and Joe, and we have some great. We were just started talking about Beeple's dickbutt, right?
We're gonna dive right into
why
the
not?
most photorealistic 3D rendering of a dickbutt.
Yes.
And we think it's the most historic piece of art that Beeple's ever created. That's how we're making a stand to start off the podcast. We're not introducing anybody, not saying what
we
they do.
We don't need to know what you do. We just want to make this
dickbutt is the most historical piece of art in Beeple's entire collection.
We showed this yesterday to two people who are not into NFT space, but big into the art space. And I made the comment that I believe that this is Beeple's best artwork that he's done. I really do believe that. I think that everything else is fun, entertaining. From a standpoint of art, I think the dickbutt actually is monumental.
So now that we got that out on the table and we clear the air, we should go.
I'm glad that was not controversial at all.
Yeah,
full agreement.
No, I don't
There's
own
nothing to discuss really.
Right.
That is Beeple's most important artwork.
That's it.
Done.
Put that out there.
Let's just put it out there. It's in the universe. Now let's do introductions. So let's. Sergito, you want to start with you? Give us a little...
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. Exciting to be here. Love that we started with culture and just perfect math. 1D equals 1B. That is 100%. Always just going to be the guiding light for Web3, I think. I'm Sergito. I am a collector of sorts. Almost accidentally became a founder last Sunday. Started a meeb card project focused on the meebits, which are dear to my heart. I also have a real job. I work at Fireblocks, which is a large provider of wallet infrastructure for crypto companies. And I'm just really excited for this hour or however long we're going to chat.
Yeah,
thank you for joining us.
Let's do it.
Yeah, Joe.
How's it going, guys? Yeah, equally thankful to be here. I am a hardware and software developer who became a founder about 5 years ago, which is crazy, when I started the company Infinite Objects. We are known for our hardware product, which is a display that is traditionally encased in acrylic and can never be changed by the collector. It is a video print. That immutability is really the biggest kind of innovation in our product. But obviously, design-wise, we are very much not a gadget. We're very much a physical body for a piece of digital content.
So let's just start there because I think it's the perfect segue. So first of all, I really feel like Joe, is so he doesn't have that many followers on Twitter. It's like it doesn't make.
He's
any
building
sense.
a company. He's
right.
He's a hardware and software dev. He's like spending time learning useful skills to build products while we're just playing with our fucking fingers and dicks on the internet. Exactly. It makes perfect sense.
But it's just so weird to me because everybody uses and loves Infinite Objects, and when I met Joe, I was like, oh my God, like, dude, you're amazing. And he's like, wait, are you Redbeard? I was like, yeah, but don't worry about that. You made...
Did you know when you saw him?
I didn't put two and two together, to be honest.
You made Infinite Objects. And I do think it's funny because I agree, the specialness to them that you can't change them. Well, I know some people are like, I want to change it. It's like, no, like, this is what they're here for. And I know that you have other products that you're building that, I don't know if you can or can't talk about, but I do love the fact that the immutability and also the provenance of it and the way you connect them to the NFT is brilliant, right? And we just had this conversation yesterday. One of the things that these two people from the art worlds had said to us, because we're not using trad art anymore. Art. They said that one of the issues is being able to see the art, right? So they have to see it really well. And I showed one of them a video of your Infinite Objects, and he's like, oh my God, this is amazing, right? Because like it made sense to him all of a sudden because he could touch it and feel it. Like, you know, we love this idea of digital art, but digital art doesn't have to just mean it's, you know, in a cloud. It has to have digital, has, you know, it's technology, and this is part of the technology that you're building. So I do think that there's something about that makes it really special.
Yeah, I mean, when we think about art, digital art as you know, a kind of historical, you know, category, this is not new, right? The idea of creating a piece of software that renders, you know, something beautiful or something emotional or something historical. Galleries have been selling, like, you know, Bitforms is not that far from here. Bitforms Gallery, they've been selling video games as art. They've been selling video as art as a traditional gallery. And sorry, I just touched this. And you know how they would do it? They would be like, yeah, we've got this video is first of all projected on a wall, right? It would always be on a wall or a projection or on a screen, and they would say this is an edition of 10. And you as the collector could walk in there, and they've been seriously, I think they're a 20-year-old gallery. You would walk in there, and when you purchased it, they would present you with a USB stick.
No way.
Swear to God. And that USB stick sometimes was gold. And it would be like a little, like a box, and it would be a gold USB stick, and it'd have a little certificate of authenticity. But there's no actual digital provenance there, right? It's the same amount of provenance as like a piece of paper that's been printed that says, you know, yeah, this is a piece of digital work. So, you know, that idea, I think, it's not a new kind of challenge, and it's not a new, you know, reality that we've been living in. But obviously blockchain has completely opened the world in terms of authenticity, in terms of scarcity, in terms of how you collect a piece of digital artwork, right? And so, yeah, it's not new what we're doing. I think this application of a display and saying the display itself is editioned and itself becomes a sculpture that represents a digital asset, that is completely new, and that itself has never been copied. No one's been brave enough to come out with a display that can never be changed. Which is great. We have seen some copycats on the design side, but we've got our IP covered. We've got our patents filed. But yeah.
You hear that? Don't mess around.
I mean, go ahead. Come at
Fuck
me.
around and find out.
Let's
Fuck
go.
around and find out.
I'm not nervous. I'm not nervous at all. Let's go. So yeah, I mean, it is new. It's an exciting kind of approach. But again, the problem is not new.
Right.
The problem has been here since way before, you know, NFT was even coined. So
Right. And, you know, I think while we're here, we should see what they look like, right? So Deeze, we have a present for you.
We do indeed.
We have something that we got you here.
Oh boy.
Now I
Some
don't
great
know.
gifts.
I actually don't know which is which. So you guys are
Okay.
gonna.
We got
I brought
one
two.
for
I brought
me,
two.
one for you.
Some
Yeah.
live unboxing.
Unboxing, exactly.
We'll figure it out.
Here we go.
All right, let's
We're
see.
recording, right?
Got
Just
the
want to make
camera.
sure. Okay. All right.
Here you go, Benny. Let's see.
We're
Let's see if you guys are
recording.
getting.
Let's see which one.
10
Yeah.
minutes.
All right. These beautiful. Look how beautiful these boxes are.
I'm getting FOMO right now.
Right?
Yeah.
So I
Oh,
should have got
that one's upside down.
Oh, I
but it's
should have.
all
I
right.
should have gotten
That's all
that.
right.
Tiger Woods.
You know what? Oh no, we got Switch.
We got
open
Switch.
yours. Open yours.
Oh, wow.
Back to you.
There you go.
I have I have a few infinite objects at home.
Oh, you
And
do?
I
Okay, I love hearing that.
So one thing, I have like, got a couple from like Fubo and NBA Top Shot, but I got one from a one-on-one artist that is like a animated piece that I bought from him. That hits different. Look at that.
Right?
And
like
got a
that
stand
one,
here
right?
too.
These look fancier than the. I think I got mine like a year or two ago. This looks different.
They look really nice now.
This
Wait,
is
how did you get?
fancy.
Where did you get that thing?
This is
I
Stand
didn't-
is in there.
Yeah.
It's
Is
in
that
there.
new? The stand?
The stand is, yeah, it's not new. It's something that is just for friends and family.
Oh.
Ooh, alpha.
The 10-inch
Ooh.
actually comes with the stand. These are the 7-inch
Oh my
display.
god! I didn't know we had.
Is the back different? Am I tripping?
So yeah, this back is the authenticated NFT video print backside.
Wow, okay.
Which is different than the kind of standard, which is like a gray, just says infinite
that's the
objects.
one I'm looking at.
These have their own provenance.
So they have the
And we'll talk about
QR.
what that means in a second.
Let me scan this QR code. Let me get it.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll tell you what, I have a few of them in my office. And same thing, people at work, you know, we're a crypto firm, but obviously NFTs are a little on the fringe
Boom,
side
like
of
the
that.
super rare.
And our CEO came over, he's like, is that an NFT?
Yeah.
I'm like, yes. Like, okay, I want
It
one.
makes a big difference.
Immediately, like, I want one.
You know, Dave talked about this a million times. I missed it, but he told me the event that he went to at Venus over Manhattan when they did the
Squigs.
Squiggles was one of the best events that he's ever been to, and he said that the infinite objects, the way that you guys worked with Venus over Manhattan, and how that worked was just brilliant, you know. And I know that Eric absolutely loves. He talks about it because it was a big moment for him also. So, it just, to me, I agree. I think it hits different. Like,
Totally
I have a bunch also. And what I do is I give them out to people in my offices.
Yes.
And they sit in their desk and they're like, oh, I would talk about doing NFTs at school like all the time. One time, they would make a joke. They think I like live in the metaverse. They have no idea what it is. But the second I gave these out, they're like, oh, that's really nice. Like, oh, I get it. It's art.
It makes it real.
Yeah, it makes it real.
Yeah, exactly. And I think so. Two things there. One is this kind of helps explain what an NFT is to a non-blockchain person, right? Someone who doesn't even give a shit about blockchain.
Right.
You can be like, look, this is a piece of digital content, whether it's art, whether it's entertainment, whether it's personal content. It's still something that is meaningful and valuable as a piece of content. When it's backed by the blockchain, you can explain, oh, this is representing something on chain that is scarce, that is, has its own provenance, was minted at this time by this person or this entity. There's so that kind of onboarding, we feel like, is just this really helps bring in those people who don't understand and maybe don't even care necessarily, but can get them in.
Well, I think it's going back to what Deeze and I always talk about. Like, you drive your car, you don't really give a shit how your car works. You just want to drive your car. So it's the
I
same
want
thing.
it fast.
wanna-
I want a backup camera.
Right.
Exactly.
I want warm
Backup
seats.
camera.
I want the wheel to warm up,
Right.
It's the same thing with your art. It's like, I want my art to look amazing. I don't care how or where it is. I just want it to look good. The fact that you can connect it, and you should talk about connecting it to the process.
Yeah, I'll talk about that in a second. But Venus over Manhattan is a perfect example of a gallery that has only been traditional up until last year.
Yeah.
Adam had never really done blockchain. Eric was definitely their first kind of artist who they, represent and work so closely with. That is, only a blockchain.
And Eric being Snowfro, yes? For those
Snowfro,
that don't
correct,
know,
yes.
Snowfro.
Snowfro. Yeah. I think actually what Adam is
We just
doing.
assume everybody knows somebody's first name.
Yeah, Eric. Sorry, Snowfro.
It's like we introduced Joe as Joe.
Just
Yeah,
Joe.
it's Joe.
I mean,
Right.
here's Joe.
What's that?
Well, can you pronounce your last name?
Saavedra.
Saavedra.
Okay, we'll keep
Saavedra.
it at Joe.
Yeah.
We'll keep it at Joe.
I just call him Joe I.O.,
Joe.
so it makes it easier. No, I actually love what Adam's doing there. I'm hoping to go visit in a couple weeks with a couple people. Like, I really think what Venus and Over Manhattan's doing is just phenomenal. One of the best galleries, I feel like. And Adam's really collecting phenomenal art. Like, he sees it. Like, he gets it. And, it's just going back to, like, the better collectors who are just like, okay, we need to understand how we're going to curate here. He's one of those guys. Not to take it away, but with what we're talking about, but I just wanted to...
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
completely.
let's throw it
But
out
they, being a traditional art gallery with their own mailing list, being
Yep.
traditional art collectors, and then wanting to have an opening night and really, and I brought Sergio. I remember. I
Yeah,
invited you
that
to
was your
opening
date. That
night.
was great.
Exactly. Yeah, that was a long time ago. And but telling it physically
6,
is
8
really
months ago.
important to them.
Yeah.
And so, we obviously have a number of different size units. We showed our like really large 26
They have like a 52.
square
They have like a
ones.
52
It's
inch.
26-inch diagonal square. It's like this big.
Dude,
But it's a square display,
Yeah.
and
Nice.
it's
And
still
it's
a house.
thick.
I
next
saw.
to it.
I saw.
It's real thick.
Yeah,
yeah.
it's nice.
It's insane.
And then we built a sculpture in there, right? That like box, crazy.
So cool.
It was like 100 units, I think, or 110
It was really
units.
cool.
And so that's important to those people, right? To like onboard again, whether it's a traditional gallery or traditional collector, telling the story and showing it in a beautiful way that honestly doesn't look like a television.
Yep.
That
Right.
doesn't just look like a computer monitor. That feels elevated, and then has this permanent side, this its own provenance aspect as well. Just makes it so much more kind of.
So why don't you tell us how this
sensical,
connects?
logical.
Because I saw that.
Yeah,
Jesus
right.
Actually, use his phone on the back.
So what's important to us when it comes to NFTs is that you do have to own that asset in order to physicalize it. And so we have a number of authentication methods on our website. The first one we launched a year ago with Top Shot, where you log in with your Dapper wallet. We preview your contents of your wallet in an infinite object, and then you can order an authenticated physical of an NFT that you provably own. We also have the same thing for Ethereum Layer 1 with MetaMask or Wallet Connect. But what's important to recognize is, yes, you just scanned your backside.
Yes.
And every unit has its own unique identifier. It can be a QR code. It could be an NFC tag. We've done all of it. But when you scan it, yes, it's taking you to that super rare drop page. However, it's actually running through our system, which knows not just that it's pointing to super rare and it will forward you to super rare, but it also is a record right now in a Web 2 database that is recording what wallet authenticated this object. When did that wallet own it, and when did that wallet make that purchase? Then it has a lot of descriptors around what is this object made out of, what size is it, what manufacturer, what batch number, all of the things that kind of describe the physical itself. And then critically, what print edition number is this? And that's interesting because if you sell your token,
somebody else will get two.
They would get print number 2, exactly. And that is inherently less valuable than the first time this was physical.
Time it was made.
Especially if you knew it was by Deeze. You knew Deeze bought that physical first.
Yeah.
Print number 1 was owned by Deeze and authenticated by Deeze. Print number 2 by whoever else. So it is kind of a new way of thinking about what it means to generate and kind of collect physical manifestations, right? Physical expressions of a singular digital asset, because this is never going to replace that asset, right? That asset will always live on chain. All of that provenance is never going to be changed. This is just one expression of it.
Have you ever had like a traditional or older collector be like, I love this, but I want the like art to be owned in this. I don't want to do the wallet thing. Can you just like give me this and have it owned by this? Like, I can imagine there's people who don't want to custody it, and they're like, can you make video print that holds the custody of it? Is that something that's ever been thought about?
It's been thought about, absolutely. I mean, essentially, you're describing a hardware wallet.
Yeah,
right. Can this become a hardware wallet?
Yeah.
And I've talked to Ledger about that. Like, what would it take to? And I mean, it's an expensive endeavor,
Definitely.
but it's
But if
totally
you have
possible.
But if you have like a really expensive X copy, it could be like I could see people being like, look, I just want the physical.
I could just see
piece,
like the
right?
older, like when you're talking about like having that nice 2-foot
Yeah,
square,
exactly.
Or like
something,
those punks that got sold with paper wallets.
Yes, remember?
with the
Yes.
wax.
Right.
By
yeah.
the way,
Right.
I that's my first time I ever bought an NFT. Almost was I had
A
it was-
punk?
So it was a
Almost.
crazy story. So
Almost.
I went
right.
to this art gallery, Artix Code, or right?
Artist code.
Artix Code is Sophia.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like a long time ago, like I don't know, early 2019 maybe it was.
Yeah, they've been around.
So I went downstairs and to this basement area where they were selling art,
Always a
and
good start.
I said to them, this is to my wife. Oh, let's buy some art because it turns out they were taking ether for art. I was like, oh, fuck this. Like, I got ether.
Money bags over here.
Yeah.
We're art
So
collectors.
I wanted. I looked at this side of the room. It was a tiny room. I was like, I want that. And my wife's like, I'm not getting that shit. She's like, let's get that. There was 2 other artists. One was this guy named Tyler Hobbs. The other guy was Dimitri Cherniak.
Never
Sounds
heard
familiar.
of them.
Sounds
Never
So we
heard of
familiar.
bought 2 pieces. Right, exactly.
Really?
Maybe, I don't know.
We bought 2 pieces of fine art from Dimitri Cherniak that are not ringers, even though they look like ringers, but they're not ringers. I want to be very clear that I say this.
They look like
Arguably, though,
strings
they will be
wrapped
more
around
valuable, right? 'Cause they're
pegs, but they don't look like rings.
Correct.
They're pre-ringer, though, right?
Pre.
They're pre-ringers.
That's amazing.
Okay.
So it's fine art. I can show you a picture.
And they're all one of ones.
Yeah,
Yes,
they're
right.
fine art pieces. I bought 2 of them. One's in my mom's house. She has no idea what it is. I'm like, by the way, it's a little valuable. She's like, she tells all her friends, she's like, this is my son. He collects art. She has no clue it's up there. And she's like
So
whatever, it's
good.
fine. And then on the other side of the room were these things called crypto punks that were physicals, and behind the frame was a wallet.
Was it a
Address.
private key?
Private key,
It was
yeah.
just a private key.
Right
Got
behind
it,
it was
got it.
20 of them, and the lady there, she's like, yeah, there's not that many sold yet. Do you want one? It was like $500. I know it was like some crazy number.
Wow.
And my wife's like, oh, I'm not putting that up in my house. I remind her every day of that.
You're right.
I'm like, that was like $4 million. Now I probably would have sold it like way beforehand.
Yeah,
but I'm just like, I would have had one of those physicals. And I remember sitting there and like looking at it, like, oh, that kind of looks cool, you know? The only
So Larva Labs actually produced it though.
Yeah.
Like the physical.
Yes.
Oh, I don't remember that
I
story.
think it was very early on.
Yeah, it was
that
very
they-
early on. I think they also resold some of those at Sotheby's
Sotheby's,
Yes.
yeah.
in 2021.
yes.
where
Probably
they-
one of those
I
I
remember
wanted to
seeing
buy.
that.
They actually
Yeah.
resold to
'Cause
Sotheby's.
it didn't sell. No one bought
because
it.
it didn't sell.
No one
'cause
was like, I don't
buy
want
them.
that.
Right. So,
Oh,
but it's
wow.
funny. But
That's amazing.
Going back to like sorting the physical, my wife, that was the only time she really liked NFTs. She was like, oh, I want the fine art. I want the physical. It's the same idea. So these
Sure.
in my house,
So-
she loves, because she always gets the feeling of them, and
Right. And I'll tell one more element here, and then we should get into.
Oh, yeah,
Sergito,
we got
because
plenty to
I
talk to
feel like-
Sergito about that.
that unique identifier in this case is a representation of your ownership and your purchase of that, right? I mean, you didn't buy it. I authenticated it for you, Deeze.
Appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
But my point is, I authenticated for you is what I'm getting at. But what we've also done is use that unique identifier as a distribution method. So we would, we worked for NFT NYC. I forgot which event it was. It was one of the big ones. They purchased 200 units, and they distributed the 200 units to VIPs at the party. And this is like the NFT NYC 2 years
This was
ago.
NFT Now.
It was NFT Now.
Yeah.
Wait, was it NFT Now? We did one with NFT.
But they had a bunch.
We've done this a few ways.
Okay, yeah, there was a bunch in a room, and like you took it. And then,
you might have done it for NFT NYC, but you definitely did do it for NFT Now 100 last year.
Okay, and no, are you talking about the gala?
The NFT 100 gala thing?
The
NFT
gala
Now?
at the
That's
Radio
right.
City?
Yes.
I don't think those were... Well, what I'm about to describe is
Anyway.
the
Sorry to
ability of...
No, those are definitely infinite objects.
100% of
Yes.
100. I mean, I was there.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was on my table.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
beautiful. Yeah, of course. That was a great event, too. It was very classy. But no, what we did for this party... And we've done it for a couple conferences, too. Do you remember? Was anyone in Lisbon for the Lisbon?
No.
There we did it as well. But you would actually scan the backside and land on a claim page. And it would be a claim page for that exact edition number. Oh, wow. So there was 1 to 200 out of 200. And when you scanned it, it would be a claim of the digital that this was representing.
That's so cool.
So the idea of physical first distribution of digital twins or NFTs is something that we think is really powerful when you talk about onboarding, when you talk about activations, campaigns, events, and even just, how we think about consumer behavior and kind of onboarding a standard kind of, I bought this thing, I waited in line, I showed up, I got my head. Actually, down the street, there's a collectible store that has a line outside of it right now. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I haven't.
Did you see the line?
What are they
No,
collecting?
I think it's like shoes.
I
think it's shoes.
Should we take a break and go get shoes, Deeze?
I mean, it was like a 50-person line.
Wow.
No, I
On a
didn't see
Sunday
that.
morning,
Wow.
it looked like a shoe or a fashion.
The only line I've ever waited on in my life, because I don't know if you know this, Deeze. I don't wait on lines. Because like if I see a line, I'm like, I'm out.
I'm
like,
with you on that.
I went to that Beeple thing in New York. I had tickets. I went. There was a line. They're like, oh, they're only letting certain people in at a time. I looked at it. I was like, I just literally.
That's me at
drove
every
home.
NFT event.
Yeah,
If
every
I
NFT
can't
event.
If I can
text
get it-
somebody to get them to bring me in.
Right,
I
right.
just,
Exactly.
I'll just go back
Otherwise,
to our Airbnb and like I'll see you later.
So the only line I ever waited on was to see like Star Wars movies like at night. Like I waited like one time for 18 hours to see like
18 hours?
Yeah, to see episode 1 with my brother. We like took turns.
But you're also much
that was
younger.
like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a long time.
Yeah,
ago.
you
I
went
went for the Harry
date
Potter
myself.
books. I went
Yeah.
for the Harry Potter books. Like at
Wait,
the
so
mall.
this is actually.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah,
Oh,
this is actually,
wow.
pretty cool.
That's incredible.
Can you, Deeze, while you're doing this, like, can you tell us about your artist?
Yeah, so the piece I picked is Once Upon a Mushroom by an artist I love called Cat Dirty. And he's known for his lowbrow, psychedelic, trippy art.
I mean, it's beautiful.
This is his super rare Genesis piece.
Oh, wow.
And
That's amazing.
it also has music that he makes. He's really big into composing music to go with all of his animations. So that's something I really like about him. He's like this multi-talented artist who's not only making, really nice animations that I love and vibe with, but the music is like I want to say like Arctic Monkeys, kind of like funkier, like kind of like
I like
low
his
key
stuff.
and
Nice.
chilling. And
That was one of my favorite pieces you have.
yeah, I showed it at the NFT and NYCC event on the movie theater with the surround sound, so it's like you're getting hit
was
by
intense.
it. And it definitely hits on a different point. But I felt like I was looking through my collection. I was like, I gotta pick a super rare piece. I'm like, what'll look nice like rectangularly? What's nice and animated? And then that being his Genesis, and I don't have any physicals of his. So I was like, that'd be like a perfect way
There you go.
to start collecting.
And
some
Because
Mom-
you're a very big physicals guy, right? Like I remember you always posting.
I don't really have a lot of
posters
room.
He needs
I
a
have
bigger
cou-
house.
I have a couple calf samards, like really big calf samards, bigger than that, up on the wall. Like 4 Jubis J's all above my fireplace.
Yeah.
2 different renditions of my punk. One kind of laser sketched into wood, and then the other one is just a acrylic painting. A bunch of Killer Acid woodblock prints, Zaid Kurdzes, and then everything else is still in tubes. Like I have a Pop Wonder. I have 2 Pop Wonders I need to go bring to a framer. ACK I need to go bring to a framer. Like I don't have any room in my house to hang more stuff, and I just bought a Killer Acid like acrylic painting on wood that's getting shipped at the end of the month when this gallery is done, and it's gonna go right above where I take my GM pics. But it's like the last spot I have in my house that was open, and now I'm like, all right, I need to like buy another house to put art in. And it's
that's why you
tough.
need to buy another house.
We need a bull market again.
Yeah,
guys.
we need a bull market.
We
So
need
Deeze
a
would have a bigger house.
My wife reminds me all the time. She's like, "Oh, next bull market, I'm not gonna let you not sell." I'm like,
That's-
okay.
Yeah, that's what my
la-
wife told me in 2017, 2018. So but it was an order. It was like orders of magnitude different. Like,
Right.
Yeah, this was my first cycle, so I learned a lot.
So that was my second cycle. That's why I bought a house in 2017. Not doing it. So my artist, not very well known. His name is
not very well known.
His name is DK. And this guy here, I think he plays golf.
Why'd you pick Tiger Woods?
Yeah.
Tiger Woods.
Of all the Let's Walks.
So to be honest with you, it's my only Let's Walk that I own with a friend. This guy who I'm friends with, he like loved it when I showed him NFTs at the beginning, so he bought it. And he's like, "Oh, I get." Like he like fell in love with NFTs because of this.
You know,
so
I
it's
just
like
fucking realized.
What? Yeah.
We should have got Clockwork Metropolis put into one of these.
Oh,
That's a fucking massive fail.
We could do it.
Yeah.
We'll get it done.
That-
fine.
This is,
It's not your
this
last
is one
shot
piece
at-
we co-collect.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
is like this beautiful animated piece.
Yeah.
I just bought it like 2 months
2
ago.
months. So like,
Because I only looked through
Yeah.
my vault when I was making the decision.
no, it's good.
And then I forget, like, oh my god, we own stuff.
I feel like that one. I feel like that one on like the larger.
Yeah, we can put it
scale.
on the
Yeah.
Excel. This is the
Yeah,
small
We
Excel.
act so Deeze, myself, obviously Ian and Will, like who I collect with, are my partners. And NorCal. I don't know, like 4 or 5 months ago, I text everybody's like, you know what? It's a bear market. Let's try to find some steals
Yeah, exactly.
and collect together. You know,
That's a
because
smart
like that's how we
investor.
start. That's how we started collecting 3 years ago. It's like let's do it again. So
I mean, that's kind of how I met Sergito in a way.
yeah.
Yeah, no, totally. Metaverse DAO.
We met in Metaverse DAO. And we were just
Oh, right,
pulling
right.
assets together to put on events in the
Yeah.
Metaverse, and it was like throw in 5 ETH, whatever, hop in, and then next thing you know, we're doing the 4156, we're doing Rare Pepes, and then Neon DAO all happened, and it's like, wow, that was like the quickest 6 months of our life. But you're just coming together because it's like, well, I can't afford to buy a bunch of land and do all the work to promote it, but like I can come together and help. And like I think that's popular in NFTs, but going to get more popular as the
I
tooling
think so,
gets
too.
better
Yeah.
because
Right.
the tools
No.
when we started was just Gnosis. It was before it was called Safe,
Mhm.
and like Wallet Connect really wasn't a thing. Now at least you can Wallet Connect, have people sign and like do something. Back then it was like pulling teeth to try to get everyone to use the tools. So I think as a couple co-collecting tools get bigger.
No, and I think co-collecting is going to be big. And I know
it's all on trust
yeah.
right now. Like we don't even have our. We're gonna put it in a multi-sig.
Yeah,
I
by
gotta
the time
teach,
you watch this podcast, it's going to be safe.
yeah, I gotta
So don't
teach
try to
Benny.
hack it.
Benny's never used. Benny's never set up a multi-sig,
Yeah.
so I gotta walk him through that.
Oh,
But it's
that's
like
okay.
one of those things. Like co-collecting is really fucking.
I
fun
have
because
so
Yeah,
amazing.
it
honestly
is very
between
fun.
Will, myself, and Ian, we have so many wallets now. The other day, we were like on a allow list or something, and like, okay, he's like, yo,
which wallet?
he's like, yeah, Benny, can you get it? I was like, sure. And I was like, wait, fuck, which wallet? Which computer? I have like 18 computers, the 52 wallets. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing with this, you know? But
The
and
method to Benny's madness. There's
yeah,
a
it's
method.
totally. I mean, there's a method to it, I think, but whatever. Talking about collecting, let's talk about you, Sergito, because you just mentioned this is your first cycle, and we've talked about this before. I mean, your journey into this is kind of interesting, and where you're at now, and sort of really like it must be crazy because I mean, let's be honest, like from what you started to where you are now in this community is a big leap, right? You know, and
You
for
mean I
your-
had money, now I don't?
Not just, I would say,
I didn't have money. Definitely
yes,
had
exactly.
money.
But not just money. I mean, you're working
No,
with
yeah, yeah.
Fireblocks. You're working with some amazing people like Raul Paul, and like I think that you have your own podcast. You have a tremendous. I know you're in a ton of DAOs. You're in like there's a lot of things that you're working on. It's just it shows that how fast this space works, but it shows that if you put your effort and time into it, that you can really grow really pretty rapidly.
Well, thanks for that.
Yeah.
No, I think you guys kind of hit it on the head when you mentioned co-collecting, work with other people. I think the network that you build early on really allows you to, if you want to do this, more long-term, having the right group of friends, right network, talking to artists early on really changes that trajectory. And honestly, I didn't know what I was doing. I think most of us, when we come to Web3, have no idea. I remember hitting up Deeze and being like, yo, like, what are we doing? And he'll be like, I don't know either. Like, okay. let's figure out. And we got rocked together on like some like shit coins. And then I remember you told me to mint Fidenzas, and I was like, the last 5 times you told me to mint something, it went to 0, so I'm not gonna mint that. No, but going back to early punks Discord, I came to NFTs because I was bored at work. I used to work on Wall Street. I used to write a morning note every single day, sent out a bunch of like hedge fund traders and the like. And my notes were always a little bit different than your typical market summary. Like the S&P went down, this and that. My notes were like talking about Reddit posts, people talking about, doing random things that had to do with finance, but not really your typical stuff. And that's when I came across DeFi first. I had made a connection with Raoul Powell from Real Vision because we're both former Goldman Sachs. And he sent me some stuff on DeFi. And I was reading it and I was like, this is like weird. I wanted to curve. The site looks like
so you knew Raoul before NFTs?
We had interacted before, yes. Okay. And then, I signed up for the Defiant, I think it was, and they made an article on G Money buying his Ape Punk for like $140,000. Right. And I laughed. I was like, this is ridiculous. and I wrote a note to my client saying, hey, like the dollar is going to be so worthless that people are spending 6 figures on JPEGs. Wow. And then, I don't know, it's curiosity. I downloaded Discord for the first time in my life. I'm not a gamer, which I think kind of is a big disadvantage in the space. And got onto the Punks Discord and it just fell down a rabbit hole. I think I came out on the other side like 48 hours later. Yeah. I had bought my Punk. It was like 6 Ether at the time. My hands were shaking when I was doing it because I'm like, oh my God, this is 10K. My wife was like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I just bought like a JPEG. It's a community. It's OGs.
I'm in the Discord, babe.
You're
doing the one of us meme, babe.
Don't call me Sergio, call me Sergito now. No, and
you're Mrs. Sergito now. You don't have a name anymore.
No, she's like, it's Valentine's Day. You totally forgot about me. And I'm like, shit. Okay. Oh, and really, it was just that, right? Like falling down the rabbit hole and kind of just talking to people, reaching out, making friends, doing things like experimenting. I think a lot of experimentation. Some went really, really good. Others learned the lesson.
Because that's where Snowfro started. Also, he told me the same thing. He's like, I think he was the mod.
Snowfro claimed punks and was in the Discord like right off the bat.
He played 32 zombie punks.
32 zombie punks.
By the time we were in there, he was like one of the most esteemed people, and it was still he was like accessible, completely open, honest.
Exactly. I DM'd him when I was buying my Punk because the floor was running, and I was like, "Yo, what do I do?" He's like, "Just buy the one you like from this two," and I just grabbed mine.
Buy the one you like. It's that simple.
Because that's how much Ether I had liquid. My Ether was stuck on Coinbase because I'm not a U.S. citizen.
Like 5 business days for them.
No, they wanted like all this documentation that I didn't have because it was COVID and like every government office was closed. So like I had Ether, it was just stuck.
Right.
So the only like liquid Ether that I had was like 6.2 and the floor was like 6.1, and then Snowfro was like go, and I'm like, all right, okay,
click.
Yep.
So you started there, and then so then from there you just
I couldn't stop thinking about NFTs. I'm obsessed. I think it's Latino and just me being me, and I couldn't stop talking about them at work. And it was funny to them for like a little bit. They're like, oh, look at this idiot talking about JPEGs, like blah blah blah. But then I started catching on, and the clients were like really excited about hearing about NFTs. And my boss didn't like that for some reason. So he's like, stop talking about crypto. Stop talking about NFTs. Nobody cares. And I'm like,
but people do care.
Okay, well, I'm out. So I called a friend who's done really well in the space. He's got like 4 cycles. I was like, yo, I want a job in crypto. I want to do something that kind of like has nothing to do with the market. Right. Because I've been in the market for 12 years. And I know crypto's 24/7, and I don't want to put myself in that position where I'm like going crazy 24/7, right? Like 9 to 5 is enough. So he showed me fire blocks, pointed me in that direction. I really liked what they were doing, and pretty much just called them up, said, "Hey, looking for a job." And
so let me understand this: when you tell your wife that you're leaving Goldman Sachs,
Barclays at the time,
thank you, and you're gonna go to work full time in crypto, did she think you had brain damage? Was she okay with this?
I actually, to this date, don't know what she thought. She's very, very supportive, and I adore her.
Because, by the way, I've been in crypto for probably like 10 years now. And my wife still thinks I'm playing with something that's not real. She's like, okay, you have fun with your Monopoly money and your
she's
friend.
Not wrong.
She's probably not wrong. She's not.
I'll tell you.
Define real.
Yeah, define real.
Exactly.
And
your imaginary
you
friends.
go at my wife, and she's like, look, she just thinks that I'm playing some kind of video game.
But then you have like 30 people over your house, and she's like,
she has a great time. She loves it. She's like, she comes out, but she doesn't realize like it's still real yet.
Same with Mrs. Sergito. It's funny because at first she thought I was maybe like talking to other girls,
right?
Because I was up on Discord. My phone to her was just my phone till 4 a.m, laughing my ass off.
Yes.
And she's like, "Who are you talking to?"
Right.
And I'm like, Deeze,
yeah,
Redbeard, Sven, Dot Pigeon, and she's like, "The fuck?"
She once looked at my phone, and I think I was writing to Dave like something like really like I really love you. I want to spend some time with you. I don't know. It was like Kai or something, and we were just talking nonsense. And she just looked at me, and she's like, I don't want to know. I don't get it. I don't understand. But I think it's a weird world that we all live in. For anybody who's in it, because it's so like different from the rest of the world.
It is so different.
The communities that we're in.
You know when it clicked to her, and similar to the conversation earlier about printing the videos or the NFTs, we got her a punk for her birthday, and she made it her like LinkedIn profile. Yeah. And she works at a big hedge fund. She's actually got promoted this last week. She's done very well for herself. She's very professional.
You haven't met Mrs. Sergito.
Maybe a real quick one.
Yeah. She's really like at a party.
Super smart, super nice, like really.
Well, thanks. She's been very supportive. But when we got her punk, and it became now her identity,
right?
She was like, okay. Yeah. She's like, well, put me in the punk's Telegram and like this and that, and start asking questions. She will also overhear my calls with like when we're discussing different things that we're doing as a group, some of the Metaverse DAO calls. And she's like, oh, it reminds me of talking to, investment committees at work. Like, it sounds like you guys are doing something similar. And then she saw how happy I was. And that for her just did it.
Yeah, I think, for me, my wife, for what clicked for her was definitely, obviously, we got to go on like any vacation we want. She's like, wait, where's this money coming from?
The beans!
Like, that eligible money. Beans. I was paying for Ether. I was paying for plane. She's like, where'd you buy the plane tickets? I was like, I used Ether for it. She's like, okay. But also, I think for her, really what clicked was, I think it was two things. One is I think when she started coming out and hanging out with the artists, like when I was in crypto, she could care less, right? But also when it had to be
Stratus, she didn't care about the Stratus.
She did not care about Stratus. When I told her I was going to London to see the Stratus team, she literally thought I was having an affair. She's like, and it's just because one of my friends was coming with me, she kind of believed I wasn't. But she has a master's in art history, and so she loved that. And I think also, I'm going to be very honest. There was like some women involved back in the shitcoin era, but it was very little. It was tiny. It was like just like all
Meltdown.
Yeah, exactly. And she's a legend.
Yeah,
she's
high priestess of the dickbutts.
Yes, she is. And she really is like super smart. But there wasn't a lot. So if I ever went to anything, it was just like 20 guys and like 2 girls, and like she's like, I don't want to be here. Now it's like she goes and she hangs out with Monaris, and I don't know, she can hang out with your wife or Sam Spratt's wife, and she's like, oh, there's other people like me, and I think that's sort of like now she's like more involved and stuff like that. So
we did the All Ships retreat. Thanks Dave for the invite, and my wife, it was the first time where she also didn't think it's all a bunch of like random internet dudes, and she had a blast. How's like your wife?
Yeah. So
how was that? I would love to hear that actually.
We've just like, how is she in the space? Or
how was the process too for you? I don't think I've ever heard it.
Yeah, for me it was like, go back to 2017. I just graduated college. We're living in a 1-bedroom apartment. My office is our living room. We don't have a living room. Her office is in our bedroom, and we have our bed. And she is socking away, a couple $100 a month. We're working on a house down payment. I'm putting away a couple $100 a month for this house. And then I only have like an extra couple $100 after I put that away to put crypto. But I had a little daily fantasy bankroll that I took all out of DraftKings and FanDuel and put it all in 2017. So I thought I was genius for like 3 months, like we all did. And then for the next 9 months, I realized I'm the dumbest motherfucker who's ever lived, and I lost all my money. And I had to tell her, like, remember how I thought we'd be able to buy a house outright and like maybe quit our job? It's all gone. I've been leverage trading on BitMEX with a VPN on my phone from the work bathroom, and after consecutive weeks of just going 2x, 3x, 5x long, and the price going down, me getting liquidated, and maybe like this is the bottom, and then it wasn't the bottom. After doing that for so long, I was like, it's gone. Then I started taking like the free CFA classes that are online because I was like, I have no finance background. I have a communication major. I spent most of my life just playing video games, and no finance background outside of like I knew how to trade items in video games, but I didn't really know how to apply that to finance. So I started like dollar cost averaging into crypto. I was like, all right, I'm gonna buy a couple hundred of ETH, and then I was actually really into Tezos way back then, like because you could
I didn't know that.
bake Tezos and get 6%.
Yeah.
And this is in like 2018. I'm like, or 2019, I think is when I actually, like early 2019. So I started buying Tezos. But I was like, I was buying it on Kraken because you needed like 8,000 Tez to bake it yourself. But if you had less than 8,000 Tez, and they call it baking, but it's staking. Whatever.
French.
Yeah.
Always about baking something.
Right. Yeah, right. So anyway, you're sitting there baking your Tezos on Kraken because I didn't have 8,000 because it was like $4,000 at the time, and doing that slowly every month. I'm staying in Discords, but I'm really worried about like just learning about finance stuff. I wasn't really worried about keeping up with crypto. I was like, I need to like learn about risk management, portfolio management, diversification, all this shit. So I spent a little bit going down the CFA rabbit hole. I found the Invest Like the Best podcast at Patrick O'Shaughnessy, and that's been like one of my favorite podcasts ever. There's so many good people go on there. I went down every day at work, I'm listening to 3 of those episodes. I'm gonna bang these out. Like, I think at the time there wasn't even 100 of them. So I was like, all right, if I listen to 3 a day, like I can get through these in a month. So I did that and kind of started looking at the world a different way through like taking risks. Like at the time I was a government employee. My wife was a government employee. We're working a job with very little upside where we could map out the next 30 years of our life until we fucking die. And it was like, wow, like this is depressing. Like we need to take risks. So I'm like over here paying attention to all this shit. Uniswap's pandemic happened. Pandemic was like the biggest unlock for all of us because instead of having to go to the office every day, wear my suit and tie, all that shit.
You were a suit and tie kind of guy?
Whoa. Stop.
Yeah,
I cannot.
Full stop. Is there can we get a picture with just covering your face and
I can show you the
Can we
picture.
see what you look like?
Wait,
do you still own a suit and tie?
Yeah, I only own this one. It's the one I bought when I graduated.
Did you wear? Wait,
He's got the photo. He knows what photo he's about to show us.
You had one suit and you wore it every day, the same suit to work.
Well, I wouldn't wear the jacket. Like I meant like when I say suit and tie, I mean like button-down shirt, tie.
Okay, we gotta see what you look like. We have to see this
suit jacket, but I'll pull it up.
While you pull it up, though, I think almost inadvertently that's such a good lesson for people.
I didn't even know how to button a suit.
Yeah,
like I didn't even I didn't know that I was supposed to not button both buttons. Oh my God. I went to my interview like that. Like,
really?
Wait a minute.
But it's such a good lesson though, right? Because you kind of like got wrecked one cycle and then decided to take a much smarter approach at educating yourself.
Yeah.
And then in the next cycle, you were able to crush it. I think a lot of people come in and see Deeze and where you are now and everything you've done and achieved and all the stuff you own. And it really wasn't just by like shitcoin trading JPEGs. Right. You had a method, you had educated yourself.
So like going into the pandemic, I'm working from home. I'm going in 1 day a week instead of 4 actually. And
in a suit and tie.
No, I'm not wearing it. But when I go in, I'm still wearing it. Anyway, I start paying attention. I mean, I'm paying attention to my friends' group chats throughout this whole time, but I'm not like super active. And I start seeing people talk about Compound, and then I start seeing people talk about Uniswap. And I'm like, oh, this is like new. These people were really excited about this, and they haven't been excited about anything since like fucking Tezos, in my head at least. So I'm like, I gotta check out Uniswap. So I'm like on Twitter, I'm looking at like what some of my friends are doing. I'm in Discord looking at what they're doing, and I'm being a little like on the sidelines. Like this is in June of 2020, and July 2020 happens, and I'm like, I just gotta take something and put it on Uniswap and figure it out. So like I go to a new wallet and I send 2 ETH to it, and I'm like, this is my risk capital. Like I'm gonna, if I lose,
this is like $1,000 at the time.
It was probably closer to 400. Like ETH was like $200.
The first half of 2020,
like after the pandemic,
literally
ETH was new.
Because it was 700 in December of 2020.
Yeah,
but at the beginning of 2020, I remember.
Yeah, because the first time I bought ETH was in March.
Everything was like over. So this is like me taking like $400 and putting in Uniswap. And I'm like, all right, my goal is to like treat ETH like RuneScape Gold and just make more ETH. I'm not going to worry about like US dollar prices. So I am in a Telegram chat in July, and someone's mentioning this token called Aleph. I put my ETH into it, and it went up 6x in 2 weeks. And all I did was like put in my ETH into Aleph, watch it go, and I was still learning about Uniswap, so I didn't want to take any other risk. I knew Aleph was like semi-legit. Like I followed the founder. Like he wasn't anon. He was definitely legit. Like it wasn't like I was just going into like a scam.
So you did your research.
Yeah, Uniswap broke. But after it hit that multiple, I was like, I need to sell all this. And I started really gambling because my friends were just like watching this bot in Telegram called Uniswap New Listing Bot. And you would have it on alerts. And anytime anybody created a liquidity pool on Uniswap, you would get a Telegram DM. So we are sitting there all day. And at the time, it's not like now where I'm sure there's a lot more pools, but like there wouldn't be something new for like 5 minutes. Like you had time to like dig in and look at it. And we're trading shit like the Tendies token that came out. There was XAMP. There were some other tokens that came out like Neat. Like it was just like something that was like clearly probably a scam. Like you would buy it and then within a day or two, like trying to sell it and just hoping it went up. And that was the summer. And during that summer, like YFI came out, sushi came out, and then all these other food derivatives. Like, well, I mean, yam was one of the first, but then there was like sake and kimchi and all this other shit. And I was like trading all of this, paying 400 Gwei gas transactions. Like gas was insane. I've never seen gas as bad as it was that summer. It didn't feel as bad because ETH was only $400.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But we were paying like fucking 0.25 ETH to like harvest sushi rewards. Because you'd be like, oh, I have 5 ETH in rewards. I'm going to pay 0.25 ETH to harvest, and I'm going to pay another 0.25 ETH to make the swap, and I'm still up 4.5 ETH. So you're like, fuck it.
Right.
And that's the game we're playing, is we're just overloading the shit out of ETH. And then eventually, like, toward the end of September, it started to die down. But in September, I found myself with, like, I don't know, maybe a 50 ETH portfolio coming from this 2 ETH. And I started to think about diversifying, because I was like, I can't. When I was trading shitcoins, I would put 0.1 to 0.5 in. And if I would double it, I would take out half. I was like, even if I put in 0.1, I was taking out half because I was so scared from what happened last time when I didn't do that. So I was like, all right, if I make 2x, take out half, ride it, take out multiples, whatever. Trill, who has been Trill is somebody I met in 2017, one of my first friends in the space. We're still in Telegrams all these years later, and we're talking about shitcoins. And at some point, he just stopped talking about shitcoins and started talking about punks. And he's like, I'm going to buy a zombie punk with some of the money we made. Like, you should buy a zombie punk. And it was Snowfro selling his punks to Found Art Blocks at the same time. So they were like 15 grand. And I was like, dude, risk management, man. Like, that's like over 30 ETH. Like, that's like over half my portfolio. Like, I can't buy a fucking zombie. So I buy a floor. And after that,
which was the right, by the way, which probably was not the wrong move.
No. I mean, I could have made more money if I bought the zombie, but
you might have also not.
I might have flipped it for a 2x or
right,
something. And anyway, I buy my first punk. I flip it for $400, and I'm like, a light bulb goes off in my head that this is like I'm playing RuneScape, trading the most expensive item. I used to make the most expensive item in RuneScape. So I was like, wow, that feels a lot like punks. We have ETH, which is RuneScape Gold. We have a very rare limited item, and we have people who I think the people I thought who are going to buy punks are going to be like natively rich ETH people. If you made a bunch of money on Uniswap, it's like, why would you not show off that you made a bunch of money by buying a punk? That was kind of my like very simple thesis. So that's how I got into punks. All the while I'm doing this, my wife is very supportive, just like yours, but not super into it. She's just like, you're clearly doing well or you're doing something, but like she wouldn't want to learn about it. And I bought her punk for like 20 some ETH. Is that
the straight blonde one with the VR that you
yeah,
have
still?
Yeah. That's a beautiful.
That's like my forever. That and my hoodie will be the pair forever.
Guys, yeah.
But once I got her that punk, I feel like that was around the time where she started paying a little more attention, and then she got a bit into Azuki and CloneX when those came out. She picked out one she really liked, so those are always her avatars on like. Well, we actually sold the Azuki rip. I regret that. Sold the Azuki like at the bottom. We were like trying to like lighten the bag, and it's like she's like, I don't really need a $30,000 avatar. Okay.
Well, you don't need. I mean, let's be honest. Like I bought at the top with Ian and Will. We bought some crazy stuff. I bought I think we bought a cat for like $96,000.
Oh yeah, I mean, I bought Moonbirds over 100,000.
Yeah, we bought over 100,000. We bought one parallel card that we actually still own. That one we haven't harvested for around like $110,000. It
was a crazy time because we weren't paying attention to the US dollar value.
Yeah.
Right, no, it was
because it was so high.
I got in that mindset of this is my RuneScape gold,
yeah,
but it's going to go up versus the dollar rather than down because RuneScape just gets inflated due to how the game works.
But sometimes you make you bets and like I'm not upset about the bet we made like on FIWO and stuff like that.
No,
like, you know, I think it comes down to risk management. I think what you're saying.
Well, I mean, look at my Friends with You statue.
What?
Look at my Friends with You statue. Like this hoodie I'm wearing.
Correct.
I mean that was a horrible experience.
That was definitely yes. Let's not get into too much detail.
No,
but it wasn't a good bet. It wasn't a good bet.
But I managed my risk, and the losses were contained to the risk that I managed.
Yeah.
Surviving, right? Like I think you guys have been through more than one cycle.
Yeah.
What I gather from just looking around the space is just survive. Make sure you risk manage, survive.
Yes.
And I think you can't let yourself check out too much. Like if you lose the curiosity or the fascination with what you're doing, like you're gonna miss those artists who put out an open edition for 0.01 that goes to 0.5. Or like you're going to miss the next.
But it's hard. You can't keep up with everything.
No.
So it's one of those things also that I've this is what I've learned is that I have no regrets, right? You know, I probably should have some regrets, and for years I thought I had regrets. You know, more recently I started realizing like I can't have regrets. Like, you know,
we're just getting old, man.
Probably because I'm getting old, yeah. But also just because like, you know, look, I think like what Deeze is saying is so important. And I remember in 2015, right, when Mt. Gox happened, right? I mean, those people were not, you know, doing risk management well enough, right? They had all their shit in Mt. Gox. I mean, there was a guy and he had like 15,000 BTC in Mt. Gox. Like, it was nuts. Like, why would you put it all in one space?
I mean, FTX.
Mt. Gox taught.
Same thing with FTX. And it's like, you think people would learn their lessons. I think it's what you say about survival is really comes down to what Deeze is talking about. It's like, okay, you know, I just tweeted this today. I don't know if you guys saw it. I wrote, you know, it's great to make $5 million, but it's also okay to make $3.5 million. You know, like you could take profit. You could take, you know, I know you always want to think like, oh, the next thing's going to make me more money. The next thing's going to make me more money. But that is like the wrong way to play this game because you can't play the game that way, especially when, you know, I tell artists all the time, like, you know, pay your rent, right? Like that's the first thing. There's nothing more important than paying rent or buying a house or buying an apartment or property. You know, you have to take certain risks that are smart. And I think that risk management part is really, really important that most people don't get in this space.
Joe, you mentioned you founded Infinite Objects 5 years ago.
Yeah.
That's right.
We got to get into so you founded that in 2017, 2018.
It was 2018.
So
it was 2018.
How were you looking at the space at the time? Because at the time, really, all that I think of in 2018 that existed was kitties and punks. What made you realize that early that, like, holy shit, we need these... Like, you know, like you're earlier than I was NFTs. So I'm definitely curious to hear the backstory on that.
So I wasn't. When I founded the company, I was not thinking about NFTs. I actually didn't buy a CryptoKitty. CryptoKitty was my first NFT until 2019.
Nice.
And I got my punk was actually gifted to me. I'll tell you that story later in 2020. But when I founded the company, I was working at Giphy. The GIF search engine, and
I use that thing all the time.
It was I mean, GIFs are still they're kind of dead now, but you know, everything's kind of dead now.
Everything's dead.
Everything. But yeah, no, the thesis was just today video and moving image content is how we tell stories. It's how we make art. It is how we sell shit. Video is so important to this generation, and like TikTok was starting to blow up. Instagram stories were now way more popular than the grid on Instagram, even in 2018. And so when I started the company, it came out of R&D that I was doing with Giphy.
Nice.
We were doing like AR and VR, a lot of software, and we launched several things and apps and stuff. But I started pitching the founder there, who is now on my board, on hardware ideas and thinking about how we experience and consume digitally native content, which, you know, all moving images and video are, in a physical format. And so a lot of the experiments were really weird, bizarre form factors, some really small, some really big. Some of them like were connected to different data streams and automatically do. And then one of the prototypes was just like, what if you are buying this display with that piece of content, whatever that is, and you can never change it. And that was the beginning. That was the moment. It was like, okay, this is worth exploring because this is not just about art, right? Which it makes a lot of sense because you can create scarcity with this idea. You could say this is one of 10, or this is one of 100. Then the idea of entertainment in general, whether that is sports or whether that is film and TV or whether that is, really anything that we see or is sold to us. And then the third category is user-generated content. And that's still a huge part of our company, or of our revenue, is people printing video of
like personal videos
of their kids, of their wedding,
I gotta get some for my
of
kids.
their vacation, of their dogs. Like, oh my God, so many dog videos. And because
love the dogs.
More dog videos than
we
kid
love dogs.
videos.
We love dogs. But my point is that video is how we remember things.
Yes.
Video is how we document our lives. Video is but it's never elevated beyond a double tap in Instagram or a swipe in TikTok. So that was the thesis. Then, but we launched with art. And we launched with art very specifically because we obviously were manufacturing just a few hundred units at a time, right? This is at the end of 2019 when we launched the company at the New Museum. We did a big event at the New Museum, had Rhizome. Do you know Rhizome? That's their digital art arm at the New Museum. They co-curated like 12 artists. And each artist created a piece that was edition between 12 or 15 and 50 or something, like very small edition sizes. And we told the story of video prints through the lens of art. And I mean, I think that's brilliant because I think all new ideas come from art. I think art is how we innovate things. I think art is always that kind of, and I think NFTs are a great example of that as well. Art is just the first application of NFTs. Like, we've been talking about art this entire time, but that's the tip of the iceberg of the use case of what, the concept of a non-fungible token will become in terms of application. But that aside, we launched the user-generated content product a few months later. And so, NFTs came into our purview when Super Rare launched. I was talking to a company called Digital Objects. Do you guys remember Digital Objects? They died in the 2018 collapse, but they started in 2017 with ERC 720, or not ERC 721, but a version of it. And it was all art. And
Did you kill them?
No.
Okay. I'm just asking.
No. No. They. Anyway, I met with them multiple times, but then they transitioned and they left.
So I think for the two of you, ownership is something very important. Not just, and I think the crypto space is enticing to both of you, and this idea of provenance and reaching people who usually don't have opportunities. You're both from South America, and I know that's something really important to the two of you.
Mexico's in North America.
Sorry. Mexico in North America and South America.
I know south of the border gets confusing.
But we'll just go with it. But no, I do know that coming from both Mexico and Latin America, it's something both important to you guys that you've spoken about how blockchain and crypto and all these things could reach a masses of people that really never have that opportunity because either their governments, block their bank accounts or they don't have the ability to show their art and different things like that. I think it's something that I would like to hear, you guys talk about because I know it's something very close to both your hearts.
Sergio's going to have a lot more to say because he has actually worked in Latin America for, most of your career, right? Has been actually working. So, I mean, I can't speak that much to it. All my family is from Lima. I was in Lima in December, and I obviously now always make it a point to meet with someone from the art and creator community. This time I met with this incredible graffiti artist named Entes. He's really incredible, and he's done a couple drops, actually. But he's going to move to Miami in like April because he's like, it's dead down here. I mean, Peru's particularly in a terrible situation at the moment, politically and socioeconomically.
And your family has some history, with being some famous politicians.
Yeah, my family does have some political history down there, but it's not a good situation there specifically. Mexico's a little bit there's things.
We're lucky to be so close to the States, right? So we're the second largest land border, and we import a lot of the culture. I mean, everything in Mexico. Even
that's second out of two land borders. Canada being the only other one.
All right, if you want to get cute, yeah. You're wrong. You're not wrong there. I think for us, and then we have some great Mexican artists in this space who, listen, I always think, right, you don't have to tag yourself as Latino, Mexican, Peruvian, like that. internet and the ability to be your own identity, right? That punk with the 3D glasses on the pipe, or Redbeard, or Sergito, really expands your horizons. But at the same time, being aware that people have different opportunities, right? So we have great Mexican artists in the space, Snowfro being one of them, Neurocolor, Mojara. We have had people who lived in Mexico.
Neurocolor is amazing.
Incredible human being
really,
too.
And I finally met him in Mexico. We all went to Mexico City together. Sorry you missed it. We'll talk about that in a second, but it was an amazing experience. But I got to finally meet Neurocolor and that whole crew, and it's just like, wow, like there's so much culture here. Like Mexico City was like popping, but like it made me realize, like, I'm working with Nello and JN on this film that they're doing down in Colombia. And at first I was like, I don't know if I want to go with you guys next time. And then after Mexico City, I'm like, no, I'm in. Like I didn't understand
Bogota?
that. Yeah, Bogota. So like,
great.
I'm really excited. Anyways, go on. But.
No, so obviously with Bitcoin first, and then now the cryptocurrencies, that kind of like removes the power of central authorities to tell you what to do with your money.
Right.
Now with Ethereum and smart contract chains, removes the government power to tell you what to do with your data. Right. So to me, Bitcoin is kind of like the global value settlement layers, like monetary wise. Ethereum is the global data settlement layer. Right. So pictures, videos, just personal information, and everything is going to be built on top. And that opens up so many more new things to artists, collectors, participants who are not, given the same protections that maybe the US government, does give here. Obviously, still a lot of differences in access to the internet, to good computers, to Procreate, iPads, and the like. So that's something where we want to focus on using the space for good and to try to help people get up to speed, because it is an incredible, just like playground, wide open,
it's just
blank
full
canvas.
Of amazing artists that you don't hear from sometimes because they don't have the opportunity. I spoke to some artists who do stuff in Tezos there. Like this guy Waxhead, and I met him online, and I bought his physical art, and then he got into NFTs. So I was trying to push him into NFTs. He's like, I'm not doing Ether. I found this Tezos thing, but he sends me videos sometimes of stuff that he does down there. I'm just like, wow, like there's just an opportunity for us to kind of push in that direction, not just in South America or Mexico, in other countries as well that probably don't have a chance. Like Yatreda from Ethiopia, Joey L's wife, like, she said like how this, one day you got to get her on because she talks about how NFTs was a way for her to express herself digitally throughout the whole world and actually get to a place where she could be, in America and have the opportunities that she has. But she said, being there, this was that gateway for her. It's
amazing because it's both ways, right? So I was saying how American pop culture influences Mexico and the rest of Latin America a lot. But we also have a ton of native culture that is not something that you get in the developed countries. Just like the States and Europe, obviously their history there is more like, call it 1700s still today. But we have a lot of like native influences, a lot of like, obviously like the pyramids, the colors are different, the spices are different, and that can come across in art that can really help complement any collection.
Yeah.
I'm pretty excited.
And you see that a lot in Neurocolor's art.
Yeah,
for sure. He puts that. You weren't there, but you have to come next time. We were in Mexico.
It was after Marfa, right? Like
it was right after Marfa.
Right after Marfa.
So I didn't go to Marfa.
We woke up at 5 a.m., like 4:30, 5 a.m. It's true story.
You had like an 8-hour Uber to get to Marfa or some shit.
Oh, that was another
story.
story.
Went to the wrong
Benny's full story.
On the way there, our driver, I told you, he found that he was an NFT artist. We actually minted his stuff in the Uber, but that's a long story. We'll do that when we have Eric on. We got up at 5 a.m., went on this boat, like in the middle of the city. It was us three, Will, Dave, Bobby Hundreds, Gabriella, and Tony's two kids, which I didn't even know.
Tony
I had no idea it was the children.
Also, shout out to Voyu and Ariane, who arranged everything. Showed us some great hospitality in Mexico City.
I just texted him, I was like, we gotta do some more stuff, and basically they took us on this like crazy boat ride, and like it was dark.
Here, I'll explain. So Mexico City was built kind of like Venice. A lot of man-made canals, because that's what they used for agriculture back in the days of the Aztecs and the Toltecs. Obviously,
Aztecs
most
is like way before America. It's like the way they explain it and how like they created agriculture way before like everybody. It's like wow, it's like pretty shocking. So
yeah, it was obviously hundreds of years ago, and Mexico City is gigantic, right? 22 million people. Most of it is now just like a regular city, but we still have this piece of central Mexico City where you still have those canals, and you still have the families that come from those heritage, and they still tend to the land, and it's almost like a sacred place. Now, Mexico City sits in a valley between two volcanoes. So you got here early in the morning, you can see the sunrise, and then you can see the volcanoes at the distance, and it's just magical. It's something crazy. Everybody has to experience.
And these farmers are like, their families live there for hundreds of years. Like the two boat guys who were riding us, like there was a father and a son, and I couldn't even tell them apart. They must have been like 100 years old each. Like it was like because they just like live on the land. It was the craziest thing, dude.
Okay, Benny wasn't sober.
Benny was
sobriety was the question.
I didn't know what was going on.
I forgot about that part.
Yeah,
I was like, 6 a.m. Then I remember. Oh yeah.
The second the sun came up over that horizon,
it was magic.
It was like
we need to
well,
take
he was playing a conch shell.
Yeah, he was playing. I tried to play a conch shell, but it couldn't
but the shaman like basically willed the sun to rise.
Yeah, he really did.
In front of us, there was like cows sleeping. There was like
I'm convinced that every morning that guy does that, and if one day he misses, the sun ain't coming up.
The sun's just not going to come up. It literally
and
felt
that
like that.
And that cow's going to say sleep all day.
It was it was really magic.
And then after,
we had another experience. So then we got back into the boats, and this is called Xochimilco, this area in New York, in Mexico City, in the middle of the city, and but it doesn't feel like you're in the middle of the city. And we land at their house, at their home.
Yeah.
At the home of the kind of shaman that was giving us this tour, where they actually live. They have a small farm, and they have what's called a temazcal. And I'm going to let Sergio explain what that is culturally, because I know it's a thing. It's a Mexican thing.
So it predates Mexico. It's a Toltec culture. So temazcal, it's pretty much just this oven built out of the mud, right? But you can fit 6-8 humans in it.
It's like a mud igloo. If you imagine
structurally. Yeah, that's the best description.
Structurally, it's like a mud igloo.
And then you get in there, you darken, there's no light coming in.
You can't see your hand in front of your face.
And so you put rocks that have been put to the fire for
volcanic
like 12 hours.
Rocks,
yeah, volcanic rocks and put to the fire for 12 hours or more. So they're really, really hot. And then you put water on them. And so that creates kind of like a natural steam room. And then there's a whole ceremony about, cleansing your mind, your spirit, yourself, thinking about people that you've wronged, thinking about things that you want to do better. And you go through 4 stages. They're called doors, just because there's a door on the temazcal. And every time it closes, right, that's a new door. It's about an hour and 20 minutes.
I cried. I saw stars. Like, dude, it was crazy.
How many grams of mushrooms were you on?
No,
I was pretty sober, and
I was completely sober.
Okay,
and
it
felt
to be
like
fair,
I was at least an eighth.
You
saw
a quarter
stars.
In.
I'm like,
it was
it was a little crazy. It makes you like this like wormhole, dude.
It's like not religious or anything like that. It's just kind of like talking about. They call the rocks the grandmothers because they've been around for thousands of years, and so with the sun creates the fire, so that's like the god, the father. And you're taking the lessons from them and you're using them to like really get into your thoughts and try to just better yourself. Again, nothing religious or anything like that. Just more like
that's very spiritual, but
very,
not
very
spiritual.
And to your own experience, right?
Yes.
There's no preaching. There's nothing. There's just chanting that allows you to.
Dude, this shaman guy though, I have to tell you. So like we saw him when he takes it off. He just has like a loincloth on. This guy was built like he was 17 men in one guy. He was like, I don't even know how to explain it. He was like giant, like it wasn't muscles. It was just like girth, but muscles at the same time. He
just was wearing a loincloth.
Just loincloth.
Girth.
Dude, I
wonder what he was looking at.
I cannot explain to you. I feel like he could have lifted like a giant boulder over his head. Like he was that crazy. It was just a great experience. And then after,
he might have been holding it once you closed
correct.
the door.
He was just holding it above. That's how
like
strong.
the Atlas.
Exactly.
That's how strong he was, man.
Yeah.
Like it was crazy. That was actually one of my best experiences I had. We gotta
love to hear that.
Next time we gotta have
everybody's welcome to Mexico. Reach out to Ariana at VOU.
Yeah.
I think though that is actually the fact that you experienced that because of NFTs. Right?
Yeah.
In a way, like that linkage.
No, it was that community.
100%.
Look, I think that, a lot of like I go back to back in the shitcoin days. I was friends with a lot of people. I had a pretty big account. I changed my account since then. But like I haven't kept in touch with a ton of those people, right? Just because like they were never really real relationships. I feel like what we're building here and everything, it's just like, no, there's something more tangible to it that like, you make that connection.
Family almost.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I actually met you at NFT NYC, and we said hi to each other, had never seen our faces, and I gave you a hug, and I remember I told my wife, that's the most honest hug I've felt in a long time.
Deeze is a good hugger, though.
He's a good hugger. By the way,
he
he gives me great hugs.
Amazing hug.
Well, first time we met, we didn't hug because we weren't like, we didn't. I don't think we even realized we were each other until the end.
No, we were at a photography dinner with like 25 people, and there was probably only like 5 collectors. Yeah. But it was like I was sitting here, and then Benny was like a seat or two to my left.
Yeah,
like, you're right there.
I just didn't
realize. We were just talking, but we didn't really.
I don't think we even realized who we were each other yet. Like I remember.
I thought he was a photographer.
Like I could look like a photographer.
I was like, he must just be one of the older
If you wore
photographers.
a bathrobe or a kimono?
No. I was actually dressed totally.
We were at a Cuban restaurant in Art Basel.
It was actually really good. 2021, and then but yeah, it's funny. And then like after, like and then we realized it, and then
No, we've been pretty good friends ever since that dinner.
Then now I get hugs all the time. This is very important, but no, I do agree. I think it's a lot like family. I met Joe, and I tell you, I met you in Mexico.
Yeah, in Mexico.
We hit it off just
recently.
It's the same thing. Like talking about like my relationship with like Eric or Dave. Like I only met people like what, a year or 2, 3 years ago. Like
same. Like everybody that I'm friends with today. I so funny because you guys talked about being together at the same table and not knowing who the other person was. I was with G Money at the Christie's Punk event, and we had like a little private showing with Noah. At the time, and Aaron Wright from Flamingo, everybody was there, and Will Cox was a legend in the punks community for claiming 1,000 punks. We walked around for 2 hours like Christie's, and I had no idea who they were until the end. And when I remember told G Money, I'm like, yo, so again, like, what was your name? And he's like, oh, give me his name, and then I'm like, okay, and then he goes, I'm G Money, and I'm like. Oh shit!
That
I
happens
my
all the
punk
time.
because of you, and you do look like you're an ape. He's lost a lot of weight now. Now he's like Prada model. Like, damn, I saw that picture with Figo he posted from Milan. I'm like, wow, I didn't know he was a runway model. But
I used to say
worked
Benny.
out a lot since.
I used to say Benny, and then people would talk to me, and then and then I would say Redbeard. Like, wait, you're Redbeard? So like
you
now
also do that shit where you introduce yourself as El Barbaroja.
I
know. Doesn't know what the fuck that means.
I did change. By the way, I changed my name on Twitter.
Oh, really? You did?
I
For
changed
a while,
it
it's like, who's El Barbaroja? And then it's like, that means the red beard or whatever.
I mean,
but like when
goes to Mexico once.
I changed to L. Rick Rubin Ross. Yeah, it's my new name. Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, I thought it was just a change.
Benny isn't the best at like branding and like keeping a brand.
Well, Redbeard makes sense. Now I just say I'm Benny Redbeard, and like, oh, okay, it makes it a lot easier.
People know your face now too.
Yeah. I'm not my last account. When I was shitcoin era, I was totally anon, and this time I'm like, ugh, fuck it, I'm not paying that game. It's just too annoying. Like, I don't really care. The truth is, everybody knows what I do and where I live.
Cannot collect NFTs and be social and not at least dox the wallet that you're doing.
Correct.
And if like dox the wallet, then you start coming to events, you dox. It's like I'm still not doxed, but I feel like I am because so many people know what I am.
Right.
It's
at this point, I feel like everybody knows who you are.
NFTs are so social. It's like, how can you not put yourself in the mix? Like, you're
component.
missing so much of the space if you're not physically.
And I get it. I get like some collectors that we both know that are like really high end collectors. They don't, and I get it because some of them are they have families. They want to be careful, and I get that. Look, for me, I'm my stuff's like almost all like off chain in a bank, so I don't really care. Like,
Benny is that, like, his students can look him up.
Yeah. Well, no. So that no one knows my Twitter account really. A few people, but Brian
isn't leaking it to the.
No, he hasn't leaked it. Brian, he's a pretty big collector. One day I was listening to Farouk was doing a Spaces, and this guy Brian was talking, and I'm like, this sounds really familiar. It's like I texted him like, it's like, do I know you? He's like, do I know you? I was like, is your last name this? He's like, how'd you know that? I was like, yo, it's Benny. He's like, my teacher? I was like, yeah.
Oh.
And then he's like, what are you doing here? He's like, wait, you're Redbeard? I was like, yeah. He's like, what? He's like, I had no clue. And then, so it's funny, but it's small world sometimes.
It's incredible. I'm really just loving being part of the community. It's wild how built this brand new friendship
Yeah.
with a bunch of people from like my world before, when I was on the trading desk, it was just finance guys, right? And it was very tri-state area. Everybody went to the same colleges. They all live in Long Island or Connecticut or like Jersey, and that's it. And I'm Mexican and I have an accent. I've been here for 20 years, but I still have a freaking accent.
Yeah.
And I think different than they do, and so I always felt like an outsider, even though I have a good job, a good position, and like here we're all a bunch of fucking weirdos.
Yeah.
But we fit together,
And it's nice.
and we're amazing, and everybody like values who you are, your voice. You can really represent who you want to be, and there's no need to put yourself within like this box of like, trader at Wall Street, whatever.
I
Like,
agree. And I
incredible.
go a step further. I know we still have room to grow on this, but there is something nice about Web3 specifically in the NFT space, even though we don't like to use the word NFTs, the digital art space, or that it's more inclusive. And I think that African Americans, women, people from South America, there's an opportunity for them.
North America.
Thanks, Deeze.
North America.
People from south of the United States is what we should say.
South or north, by the way.
South of the border.
Yeah,
Or
Canada.
Canada. Canada is just as just like it's South America to me.
Big and
Canada's big,
And
very
exotic,
big.
too.
Yeah, but it also like just like that. Bring people together. I think there's an opportunity, and I know we have ways to go, and I get it.
Of work to do.
Yeah.
100%. But I do think we're a little bit of a step ahead of other people. And
It's a good start.
And because I go to dinners and I go to events, and it's a mixed group. I remember when I used to do the crypto stuff, and all it was was white men. Like I said before, like all it was just like white men. Now it's like, okay, we have like this opportunity where there's a lot more people involved, and I think that that's something really nice about what we're building. And I think it'll get better. And again, I'm not saying it's perfect, and I know people are like, well, this and this, but I talked to Ed Balloon about this, and I love that. Like Ed's like, this is my opportunity because he feels strongly that this is a space where people accept him for who he is and what his music is and his genre. And I think it's really nice that we can give everybody an opportunity rather than just a small select few people.
I think that's a key word, right? The opportunity. Yeah. Everybody, you had your opportunity.
Yes.
When you came in, you had your opportunity to build your company. I have an opportunity to like shitpost. So
yeah,
it is all about
done more than a shitpost.
Giving people the opportunity to be who they want to be and kind of like run with it.
Yeah,
if it works, great. Doesn't mean everybody's gonna work out.
No,
we're still human,
right? Listen, unfortunately, there's still cycles, and there's still situations, and it's hard. I keep trying to tell people, this is not an easy place to survive, right? And
what percent of NFT traders do you think have people who've bought NFT? How many do you think have made profit?
Do you really want me to be honest?
Yeah, percent wise.
So I think
I've seen some data on this. I'll probably botch it, misremember it.
Okay, so my guess off. I would ask NFT statistics because he's like
I think he
walking
might have been
machine.
The one I'm pulling my botch statistics.
I feel like I should just text him and ask him right now. But if I had to say offhand, profit that they took out. Let me ask the question: did they take out profit to the bank, or are you talking about still in profit at this moment?
Just still in profit at this moment.
So I would say probably still in profit at this moment, maybe 20-25%.
Yeah, I think the number is around 15.
I was going to say 15.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people came in last.
It's brutal. I want people to know that that means if there's 100 people in a room, there's only 15 people who've actually made money in this space
I also
trading.
think if you come in thinking of profit, unless you're really good at that, you're going to not get the profit. And that's why I think complementing it with expanding your horizons, educating yourself in financial stuff.
Yeah.
Like I was a CFA. I've stopped paying the dues.
Right.
But to hear that you were also
I'm on their website going through all the free resources.
Oh man, I spent so much time with those books. But to think that trading shitcoins and this stuff let you to educate yourself in financial stuff that kind of helped change your life later on. I think that's really where the value comes because most people will probably not make money from trying to trade NFTs, but you can have a very valuable experience in Web3 by embracing everything else.
Yeah.
And you have to, I think, have an open mindset to it.
Yes.
If you're somebody who thinks that you got unlucky or you were wronged, if you paint yourself as a victim in your head, you're not going to get the same experience as if you look at it as a learning experience. You're like, hey, I had a little bit of money. I made a lot, but I lost it. Okay, well, I can't snap my fingers and go back in time and get the money back. But I'm 25 at the time. I got a whole life ahead of me. What can I do going forward?
And I think that's something that I have been turned off so much by in the last 2 or 3 years of paying attention to crypto Twitter. There's so much toxicity that is completely born from I'm pissed off about the floor price.
Yep.
I'm pissed off about my personal choices and investments,
Yeah.
whatever. And it's just like, this has nothing to do with, why this is exciting, why people are making things. People are coming in just thinking about it as investments, and I think 100%. That is the biggest issue.
We touched on it yesterday. I was like, I really want people to divorce the tech stack from the price of ETH.
Yeah.
Because it's like the tech is incredible.
So
what
exciting.
We're building in the community is
so much
incredible.
new stuff.
The price of ETH is volatile.
Yeah.
Sometimes the price of ETH looks incredible.
It's better today than it was when it was $4,000 in November of 2 years ago.
Well, that's why, by the way, building is always great during a bear market, and I agree with everything you're all saying. I remember 2016, I want to say, I got a call from somebody who's a friend of mine who's very wealthy, and it took him years to, gain his wealth. And he said to me, called me up one night. He said, you should sell 75% of your crypto right now. It was like on that rise up. I don't know if you remember.
In 2016.
Like late 2016. It was already starting to blow up.
Yeah, before the
move.
2017 year.
2017 was
27 when you went higher, but he was like 20,
Yeah,
I said no.
sell.
Then he calls me again in 2017. He's like, okay, things are really moving. I'm telling you to sell. And I didn't understand it as much, even though I've been in the space for a while already. And he said something to me that resonated with me that I never forget. He said, it's never, this is what he said, sorry. He said, if your first $1 million that you make, if it's very easy to make, you're going to lose it. But the second $1 million that you make will be harder and is always going to be better. And he drove that home to me, and he's like, you have to listen to me on this. He said, trust me. Basically his thought process was like, it sounds great and it's really exciting, but it's not even what you think it is, right? Because you didn't work for it. And
you don't respect it.
And I didn't understand it, and I didn't respect it, and I didn't contemplate that. And I was like, oh no, because I want to make $20 million and make $50 million, right? And it's so crazy. And he's like, no, you have to trust me. And I finally listened to him. And I didn't sell all of it, but I sold a decent amount. And I didn't at that time until the last couple of years, I didn't realize the respect you have when you really actually push to do your to work at it and understand what you're doing and put your effort into it. If things just come easy, it's like winning the lottery. And statistically, people who win the lottery aren't happy or broke because it was just given to them as a gift, basically from the world, and it never works out because you're never respecting it enough. And I think that's something really important. I'm not saying like we don't all get lucky, obviously, and I'm still very lucky, but there is something to say about the effort and the growth that you put into it for sure.
This is now a personal finance podcast.
I get
people need to hear it. There's a lot of artists in our community.
No, I think it's a very important part of the conversation because we're always talking about. Listen, the money piece is a key pillar.
Wait, hold on. I have to get the door quickly.
Cut. We do a little cut. Just cut for a second. All right, so we're back. We were talking briefly about how important personal finance is in the space, and I believe Sergito was mentioning. Maybe I was mentioning it. Maybe you weren't mentioning it. I don't remember. Talking about how the money part gets a lot of attention, but maybe from the wrong aspect of like people just see numbers, big flashy numbers, red, green, but they don't feel like I don't feel like they have a great relationship with money, or like they don't really realize like why do you want more money? What are you going to do with it? Like thinking through more like why build wealth rather than like, oh, I just want to have wealth. Sorry for maybe.
No, I think that's a great summary. I mean, at the end of the day, it's an important element of the ecosystem, right? Crypto is 24/7. It's a market. There's dollar value to everything,
right?
Which can make it a lot of fun, can change your life. Mm-hmm. But I think people should use the opportunity to educate themselves on why, how to keep it, how to make it, how to keep it, how to actually improve their quality of life. And I think a lot of the people in NFTs today went through this first cycle and are kind of understanding why it's important to think about the next 5-10 years.
Yep. And it's funny. I've said this to Deeze before. I have a conversation sometimes with other bigger collectors, and I do believe that I'm a better trader now. I'm not going to lie, because I have children, right? And that's not. This is not a plug.
It's easier to take profit,
right? Exactly. Yeah. Like it's not
tuition. Food. Shelter.
Nannies, houses, like, trips, like vacations, like, I and it's not a plug to have children, even though I think everybody here at this table would be amazing fathers. I've said that to each one of you. So, I mean, Joe's a little farther away from the two of you, but we'll get him there. But the two of you need to
he's got
get on that. What?
He's got his dog.
He does have his dog. He's in a relationship with his dog.
Yeah,
No, as a daughter, I meant as a daughter.
Right.
We have sneakers at Nike, and they're like our
They're like your children. Yeah.
And we've met Astrid.
Yes.
And,
Astrid. It would be interesting to see what kind of children you would have with Astrid. But
I also have a girlfriend.
yeah, you have. All right, that's right. You have a very lovely girlfriend. That's right.
Her name's also Astrid.
Astrid and Astrid.
You ever accidentally call your girlfriend your daughter?
Yeah.
Whoa!
I'm done.
By the way, when you have children, one of the things you'll notice is that you call. I have a dog and 3 children. I call my dog my children, my children.
But my mom calls me my brother.
Yeah,
and he's
all the
14
time.
years
14
younger
years
than me.
old. Yeah.
This up.
Anyways, what I was saying is that it made me a bit better trader because, like, I knew my responsibility that I had with the money that I was making, and I never even understood what real estate was, right? until I started investing in it. I was like, oh, wait a minute, there's this idea that you have to have your net worth in crypto is crazy. You need to diversify.
Yeah.
And I think that's really, really important that people don't realize. Diversifying is okay. That's not a bad thing.
And diversifying within crypto really isn't real diversification. Like, if your idea of a portfolio that is diversified is 50% ETH, 25% Bitcoin, and 25% NFTs, like, that's a very shitty diversified portfolio.
That's not a diversification.
They're so fucking highly correlated that
Yeah.
when one goes up or down, it's like diversification is like getting money outside of crypto, whether it's putting in index funds, real estate, private equity, whatever, getting it out of crypto.
Yeah, for sure.
Emergency fund, a few months of emergency savings,
Yes.
and cash.
Because I fell for the
Yes.
diversification meme. That's why I have like 30 shitcoins.
Like by the way, for a bear,
I'm diversified.
correct. And for a bear market, which you always have to be prepared for, having that sort of like runway for yourself and peace of mind. I promise you, it's really nice that if you sell some ether at a number and then you could buy it back lower is the best feeling in the world.
The other thing is, for people that want to actively trade, having kind of like an emergency fund allows you to take better risk decisions to buy near the bottom.
Yes.
Because you're not like, shitting your pants.
Correct.
That, oh my God,
I can't pay rent.
broke.
if this
Exactly.
go up.
You're like, oh, okay,
And
things are down 85%.
And guess what? And then you're gonna sleep at night because I told this story before. Like, I remember like 2017 when like everything was going up and then down. I had all these like bells and whistles going off my phone. I was up to like 3 o'clock in the morning, like just like looking at stuff all day, and I never could really like sleep. I could never sleep or even enjoy what I was doing.
Yeah.
So let's I want to move topics here
Yes.
because I think there's a very important topic before we end here that we have to get to. So just people love certain things in life, right? I love my children. I love my wife, right?
I love my dog.
You love your dog. You love digital screens. Deeze loves NFTs. He loves weed, right?
Yeah, except for this week. We're on a 7-day
Right.
break.
You're on a break. Sergito loves obviously his wife and his dogs, but probably something more that he loves more than anything in the world. I think that he can't survive without his meebits. What is this obsession that you have with meebits? Is it that do you feel like you're a meebit in some way? Like, tell us what's going on here because we need to understand this. You are the king of meebits, as Joe just said. So
G Money gave me that nickname on the Punks Telegram. You'll be surprised to hear that when the meebits first came out, I fought at them because I thought that 2.5 ether was a mint cost. Punks got free ones.
Yeah.
Cliffs got free ones. So I got like 4 from my punks, and then I was like 2.5 ether at the time was like close to 10K. It's a lot, and we had just gone through the nifty gateway kind of like high dollar mint bubble and burst. And I was like, okay, well, this is a lot of money. I don't know why they're doing this. And so I just grabbed mine, and honestly, I sold them. And my niece was being born, so I actually love my nieces more than I love meebits. And so I gave the money to my sister. I was like, hey, here, put it away for the girl. And I just kind of like looked away for a little bit. I was still hurting from the nifty gateway crash. And it wasn't until the meebits kind of died a couple months later, the hype went away. And, there was a lot of hype around them. Pranksy minted a lot live on like, Twitch. Beanie had bought like pretty much every color of like hoodie up.
Beanie.
He was sniping them from me. Thank you, Beanie, for buying the top, because I would have made some bad decisions.
And
He
so
bought like the pig.
He bought
one,
like
right?
a really nice 3D one I really
yeah.
wanted at the time. I was really pissed off, and then he wouldn't even sell it to me like at cost. Like he wanted to make like a 10 ETH flip on me, and that's when I realized he was a piece of shit. But that's another story. Anyway,
so long story short, I kind of just looked away, and then the bear market hit. Remember that bear market in like June of 2021, and I went back and looked at them because I thought, hey, wait a minute, this is actually a Larva Labs product.
Yeah.
And this guy's got punks right. They got glyphs right? Punks, obviously, the pretty much everything PFP related is built on the idea of punks, everything 10K, trades and whatever. Glyphs, generative art on chain.
Yep.
Same thing. I'm like, this is metaverse ready. These are things that were built by these guys that are incredible and can see like 4 years in advance, and nobody's talking about them anymore. So I went back and looked. The Discord channel was dead. It was me, Von Mises, a couple of like.
it's just a channel in the Punks Discord.
Yeah.
It's not even its own Discord.
It was
It's
a
just
click
like
away.
An
Literally a
offshoot
click away.
of the Punks Discord that no
Correct.
one goes in because everyone's just in the main channel.
Correct. And the Punks Discord was popping as it always is, and so I started to like go through the trades and like accidentally did my own research. Right, where I was like, oh my god, like I started learning, for example, that they have tattoos. Some of them have tattoos, and the tattoo design was made with the same algorithm that they used to create the glyphs.
Oh, I didn't know.
So
that.
you have a little bit of the glyph.
Do you have tattoos?
I personally don't on me. I'm gonna get a dickbutt
Are we gonna
tattoo.
all after this get a tattoo?
I'm down.
Are we
I don't
getting
have any
meebits
tattoos.
I have a couple.
You do?
I do.
Where are they?
No glyph tattoos.
No glyphs.
But if you get a meebit
Should
with a
be.
tattoo, you'll get a glyph tattoo.
And they also have a shirt.
Now I'm in the market.
Yeah, do it.
The meebits are my only sale that I regret is selling the
Still,
one that came with my pump.
3.2 ether floor.
It's not that
lifetime
bad.
offer.
But there's
Just
other
staring
stuff. There's other
down the
stuff
barrel.
within the collection people don't know, right? So there's a blue camo and a regular green camo design. None of the meebits that have that on them, on their clothes, have the same design, like repeated. It's also generative. So every single camo is different. Yeah. They had a little kind of like Easter egg where all the different pigs in the collection had different jersey numbers, and if you arrange them a certain way, you could get the seed phrase for a wallet that was hiding like a really cool pig meebit that somebody claimed
That's
literally
amazing. I
last
didn't know
year.
this.
And if you remember, Larva Labs did something similar with their Proof Grails drop, where if you crack the code on that piece, there was a wallet that was holding something else for you. And the 7 of us in the meebits community today believe there's a few more wallets out there that are Larva Labs wallets that the seed phrase is somewhere hidden in the code, and people
This
are
is
trying
alpha.
Do you have the wallet addresses that you think are the lost Larva Lab wallets, or is it just like you just?
to.
Think
We have
they're out there?
we've identified a couple that look
Sus.
directly from the deployer into the wallet or move right like.
So you
right
have to
after.
find the words essentially.
Yes, and so if you look at the meebits, like there's a lot of like the tattoos, the metadata have like different characters that identify each tattoo. So there's a lot of stuff there. Obviously, apes and doodles and everything else caught the attention of everybody, and meebits forgotten. Matt and John did not intend to develop them at all. Actually, at that Squiggle event, we're talking about Venus over Manhattan. I caught up with John, and he was telling me like we put them out with they come with 3D models. Actually, we're using those 3D models for those meebit cards that I launched. They're fully ready for you as a creator to take the 3D model and make anything you want out of it. And they like 20 models that are ready for it. No other collection really has that. Everybody's developing, but meebits came ready. They're like, we kind of like created for people to take them and run with it. And obviously,
I really feel like you need to like write a book on the history of meebits because this is fascinating. I mean, it's still being written.
I've learned more about meebits in 3 minutes.
just
I've
right
learned
now. I'm FOMOing into buying more. I'm just like, wait, now I want a meebit.
Well,
That last part is really important. The fact that it's a skeleton-ready model,
Yeah.
that it's ready to be animated. That, and when you think about metaverse, I mean, I have my own feelings, reservations on metaverse in general, but there's no question that meebits was designed for that, and one's done anything.
Was
with it.
meebits sold also to?
yes. So by the way, to your point,
Yeah.
maybe even the metaverse doesn't happen to be like a video game. The fact that as a creator, you have a ton of assets that are high quality, made by Larva Labs, ready to deploy.
Yeah.
Now that Yuga Labs bought the meebits and the Punks IP and gave it to the
Do you
asset
think we might
owners,
see some meebits with some apes soon
Well,
on their metaverse?
No, they're definitely going to be on the other side. You already said that. But also, as a creator, you can grab those assets, you own the IP, and make a bunch of cool things with it and mint it, sell it, really create your own digital art with meebits on them, even if, we never go Ready Player One in the future.
And that's what drew you to them, and then you decided to make the meebits cards.
Right. So then, fast forward to a couple of weeks ago, and again, I always make fun, there's only 7 of us in the meebits Discord. It might actually be partly true. But it's a really cool, close community.
I'm joining it tonight.
8.
Yeah.
It reminds me of kind of like our Metaverse DAO, and like even Punks before they really started running in late February of that year. People are just still discovering things. We have Bailey Tattoo. Shout out, this guy's like making really cool Blender renders with his meebit every single day and putting them out kind of like every day. They're dope. There's Marcel, who's a photographer, who's also making like really cool pieces with his meebits. And so we're like, all right, listen, meebits deserve relevance, right? They're both bought by Yuga, so they're going to get developed the way that apes have been developed. They have a great team. They have like 5 or 6 people working just on meebits. So like Yuga employees focused 100% on meebits. So hello, that just like even from like a trading side, investment side, like okay, there's something coming. There's a $4 billion company
more
here.
Than when John and Matt were running the ship.
Way more, right?
Significantly more.
Or maybe even like more than the apes when Garga, Emperor Ketchup, and Gordon started, right? Like they have a full team. They have A16C backing them. They have the experience of the apes and everything else. And so there's this thing that's there, and they're going to run with it.
By the way, Matt Medved's buying one right now. You FOMO'd him into it. He's on his phone.
Love it. So
He just swept
I'm
the
like,
floor.
let's take this meme card meta that is playing out right now and use the power of CCO.
Right.
And then throw meebits into the mix. I own the IP to all my meebits. And so, luckily, again, a lot of artist friends in the network, people are like, hey, that's pretty cool. I didn't know you could do that. So we have like a Hawaii themed piece that's going to be one of the cards that's going to come out. And, they're putting the Hawaiian meebits in the piece. And so we're just...
Is that your favorite one?
No, my favorite one is my fully suited elephant.
Okay.
There's only 500 fully suit meebits. They're rarer than picks. And I just love the way they look. They remind me of my Wall Street, suit and tie life. And they just look super sharp. So again, it's just trying to combine. Let's take CCO of the cards. Let's take the fact that people are really starting to appreciate, hey, you can have maybe like really high mint, low cost pieces to bring new people into the ecosystem, teach them to collect, teach them about the art. Really cool artists that are saying, hey, listen, that's not really affecting my supply because it's part of a bigger project at CCO. And I want to give people a chance to have fun with it. Combining them all together, and boom, we have seize the meebs.
Yeah, seize the seize the meme bits.
The meebs.
The meebs.
Seize the meebs. Yeah, it's kind of like a weird mouthful.
It's like, I think about 500. People are like...
So we dropped Nakamito, which is kind of like the Genesis card. That'll always be the top card in our ecosystem. And then I wrote up the manifesto, which includes kind of like the 4 values of what we're going for.
Is there something secret in the manifesto?
I don't know. Provenance, utility, mass appeal, and metaversibility. So I think those are 4 pillars of the meebits, and also 4 pillars of like the Web3 collecting community.
Have you named your meebit? Your elephant?
No, actually, Mrs. Sergito named...
Wait, it's okay. You don't have to tell us what you guys do privately. Sounds like you guys get a little funky with these meebits.
Whoa.
Anyways.
Well, they're fully rigged.
Whoa.
Have you seen Common Gang but with meebits?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, so anyway, so that's kind of like what we're trying to do. Like, I want to showcase that, you have your IP for your NFTs, and not just meebits. Like, there's a lot of people that have their NFT IP, right? And they're trying to put it into, I don't know, like a soda bottle or whatever. And that works. Good. Try it. But like, you can do NFT native things with your NFT IP and really start running that content creation flywheel. Take advantage of CCO. People are putting out really cool stuff. They're like, hey, run with it. Meme it.
Yeah, so we took, Will still had this, we sold everything, to be honest, all our apes. But we had kept one that Will had from a long time ago. That's like his baby. Of the crown one, I don't know if you remember.
Oh, yeah.
And I should have brought today. I'll send you guys. We made, I don't know if he sent it to you, but we made a gummy brand CBD.
I've not seen that.
Yeah, and if you buy
strong.
If the first 5,000, they're strong. And the first 5,000 people that buy it, they're actually token gated, and you're gonna get an NFT drop, and then it's gonna be like a membership thing. But it's the same conversation we were having about it when somebody came to us from this company, all three of us are like, we're not going to do this unless it has some kind of benefit into the Web3 NFT ecosystem. If it's just like, oh, I'm putting it on a bottle of wine, you sell the wine. Like, what have we done differently?
Again, that's cool. But if you
it's not, it's
so for me, people are now like, oh, digital collectibles. Don't call them NFTs, right?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but fuck that shit, right? Because digital collectibles just put NFTs into like this unidimensional aspect where, oh yeah, you can collect it digital. That's it. Where NFTs are like supercharged tokens that you can use to deliver ideas. You can deliver like real physical value.
So
right?
I think for like the PFPs, I agree with you. This is a conversation how like our road is sort of splitting here, and I think
for me, like
I
NFTs
think,
broadly, right? Just using the technology, being able to make money with it, and just taking a step beyond. And so the meep cards will play with all of that. We're already working on a couple of things. We'll be able to redeem kind of like physical things, physical products that's alpha. From other projects,
I'm just saying,
another IP in the space.
I'm just saying. There's a connection here we can make. I'm just throwing that out there.
Just throwing it out there, and I think at the end of the day, our goal is just to spread the message that hey, you can come in and try to like trade whatever Kobe called them shitcoins with JPEGs. Cool, do that. If you're good, you're gonna make money. Why not? But you are almost at the big bang of this like huge new universe. Yeah, where you can really do a bunch of other things. So start thinking about how to do it.
I think you specifically have always felt that way about this community of like really sending the message out. I know like you from Mad Pops when you worked with Will and others obviously that we all friends with. That was your message from that group. It was like, okay, how do we bring more artists in? How do we get them to be involved here? And I just think that message also very much what Infinite Objects is trying to do as well. I think that message of spreading the noise out, right, and getting more people involved is going to be the key for 2023, in my opinion. So I think what you're doing is great. I just have to get my meebit card now.
Yeah.
Meebs.
We are getting close to the top of the hour, too. We'd like to wrap things up. How do we want to wrap it up?
If you guys were on a deserted island, okay, which we kind of are. That's our whole thing, right?
We're shipwrecked.
We're sort of shipwrecked together. If you could bring one album with you that you could listen to on replay, what would it be?
Recently, I rediscovered two artists who... I was a music major in college. I was a music composition major in college. So music was my whole
life. You played
what instruments? I played saxophone starting in third grade through undergrad, and then I played guitar and starting in middle school. And I lived with my band in college.
If I knew that, I wish I would have told you to bring your guitar today. Next time we're gonna have you on.
You still play? Guitar. You still dabble?
I have a guitar, a couple guitars in my apartment, but I don't pick them up enough. So music used to be music was like gonna be my life until I realized I was never gonna be in that top, and I was like, well, where's really the future here? And also studying music kind of ruined music for me. Anyway, the two artists I recently rediscovered, one of them is called G.G. Allen. You guys familiar with G.G. Allen?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Jazz?
No. He was a punk rocker who would he kind of redefined what he believed rock and roll was, which was very antagonistic. He was like, rock and roll represents like everything that is wrong with the world, and
I love it.
He would.
So he was a D-gen.
He was like way worse than a D. Like he would. Do you know G.G. Allen? There you go. Yeah, G.G. Allen. He literally.
That's like when it shows on Spotify.
Oh my God! Yes, love it.
He would.
Degenerate.
He would get completely naked on stage, shit himself, cut himself, throw his feces into the crowd, assault audience members. Usually he would start the show with like a packed house, especially at the height of his fame. And then by the end there would be two people left in the crowd.
And this is your hero.
And no, he's not my hero. No, but he is really significant.
You love his music. Okay.
I don't even think his music is that great, to be honest. At first it was kind of decent.
So why would you pick his album?
Because he was a maverick.
Okay, he's a maverick. Okay.
Which I would never use that word. It's just
his most popular song.
Yeah,
is called "Abused Myself. I Want to Die."
Yeah, not a great. Not a great musician. Not a
Second
great
one,
musician. Just,
bite it, you scum.
We're really learning a lot about Joe today.
He's a significant. I think there's something significant with it. The other one is the Shags. Do you guys know the Shags?
That sounds way more familiar.
Yeah, Shags from 1965 is four sisters. Their dad just bought them instruments and then recorded an album.
I'll tell you, Joe gave us the most outlandish answers, and I love it.
Yeah, those are the two things. This is just like literally.
Okay, go with that.
The last few days.
Then just go with it.
I rediscovered.
Fine. Yeah. Sergito.
Well, I might disappoint you guys because my album's in Spanish.
That's fine.
This Mexican band called Panda.
Okay.
And the album's called Amant Sunt Amantes, which is really not Spanish. Well, the last word is. This is a alternative rock band that formed in Mexico when I was in high school. And when I went to college in this town called Monterrey. And, very different. I learned English in high school, didn't know anything about U.S. culture or anything like that. And Blink-182 came into the... give a concert, and obviously, Blink-182, Blink-182,
Never
like 2003, right? No, I'm saying back there being in Mexico, and Panda opened for them. We booed them the whole way. We're like, ooh. I had never listened to them before. But then I felt bad, actually. So I went back, and I looked them up, and I listened to their music, and it was during those 2 years where I decided, I'm going to make something out of myself.
Love it.
Geography is destiny. Right, having been born on the Mexican side of the border completely gives you a disadvantage versus people who were born on the U.S. side. And I was like, fuck that. I know English now. I'm going to make something out of myself. I'm going to go to Wall Street. And I will play that album over and over in my car as I was driving to school or back to where I was living. And it just really brings me back to those moments where I'm like, all right, listen, I was born like this, but I am going to just fucking go and... do what I want to do and achieve my dreams. And so if we were in an island stuck where we're we might die, but we got to survive and we got to get the fuck out of this, I would do that.
You're giving me a great idea for another question. Before we get to 2023, I have to ask it. I feel like this is a great, by the way, we could use as a sponsor now, by the way. I'm just throwing it out there. Ready? You're going to like this one. If you had to pick a moment in time that you could put on your infinite objects while you were on the deserted island, what would that moment be?
Wait, on the deserted island?
Yeah, you're on the deserted island because you have to see it, because you have to have something with you,
you're
right?
an infinite object.
It's pretty much asking, what's the last thing you want to see before you die?
What's the last memory? Yeah.
Or you're sitting there, you have to remember something to keep you sane, right? What would that memory be on your infinite objects, which you can't do?
I have one, and that's because I've been thinking a lot about trading cards lately, because of the meebit cards. I played in the regional championship in Texas to qualify for the Pokemon trading card game.
Oh my god!
Super Trainer Showdown.
Good lord!
Wow.
Really?
Yes. And I was in the final. It was this mall in Texas in the Woodlands, and it's me against this kid. Pretty much came down to the tiebreaker, and we're in the middle of the food court that was set up as a little Pokemon stadium, and all these people are watching. Right, all the players that already got knocked down. I'm in the final of my age group. And my dad is standing right outside the little area where we're playing with the table. And the tiebreaker came down to how many cards were left on your deck. And whoever had the most cards won. And I remember the judge counted 6 cards on the other kid's deck. And I don't know how many cards. I couldn't even grab my cards anymore because my hands were so sweaty. And you use plastic sleeves to cover them that they were falling. So I was playing like this. I was so nervous. And the judge picks them up and counts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and has one left and lifts it up. It's 7, the winner. And I don't know how I teleported from the chair to my dad's arms to give him a hug. And that hug is just
that feeling,
best hug ever. And I love my mom, I love my sister, I love my wife, and everything since. But that hug was just something that I would love to see that.
You need a partnership with Elon Musk, so he could put the what's it called, and you could download those memories onto infinite objects.
Instead of wallet connect,
Neuralink infinite objects.
Yeah, exactly.
So now that we know that you're a Pokemon trainer, that's crazy.
That's amazing. No, a champion.
Champion.
Still, that's another.
We're with royalty here. Joe, what would your memory be?
Oof, I was while you were talking, I was just trying to think of a great one, and there's a lot of personal moments that
safe for work
that are
safe for work.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that so my dog is really important to me. I think I adopted her about 4 years ago. She was a rescue from Kentucky, and I like took it very seriously. Like I had just raised my first money for the company, and so that moment in my life was the first time I was like, okay, like I have a job. I had never had a real job. I was an assistant professor, so I was teaching at the university, but outside of that, I had never, and I only did that for 3 or 4 years. 10 years before that. And anyway, I had always wanted a dog my whole life. So much. My parents never let me get a dog. They were like, my mom pretended she was allergic. Now my mom is obsessed with my dog. And to the point where she calls my dog my human sister's name by accident because she believes my dog is a human. Anyway, to the point where I actually started walking dogs. My first business venture was I was in middle school and I wanted a dog so bad I just started walking my neighbors' dogs. And then I all of a sudden had a book of 40 different neighbors and like I had all these house keys and I started hiring my friends to walk the dogs like separately. Anyway, this is like a 7th grade story. Fast forward 20 years and I had like applied to 5 different, you have to apply to get a dog now, even a rescue dog. And this is, well pre-pandemic. Anyway, she was the first dog that I made an appointment to meet, and that the way it worked was you showed up, you gave them a driver's license, and they give you the dog, and they say you have a 30-minute test drive, like go walk your dog around the block.
Before,
and it was insane. She was destroyed. She was so traumatized by whatever had happened to her in her first 8 months of life that she could not walk. She would just shake. Like she couldn't. It took us 1 hour to walk 1 square block in the East Village. It was a little. They just parked a van in the East, like a truck in the East Village, and like they called me and like, "Where's our dog? Just steal our fucking dog." But I sat with her on every stoop for like 10 minutes, or not 10, like 5 minutes every stoop, and so I think, and she's now just like you've met her. She's like totally like great. I can take her anywhere. I was gonna bring her here, but like. I know that we sat on so many stoops and people would like come up and be like, oh my God, like, and I would be like, I don't know this dog. I just gave like, and I feel like having that.
I'm test driving her.
I'm test driving her. Having that, like, I don't know, there's something about strength. There's something about growth. There's something about compassion and love. And I think those are the things that we all need more of in general. Yep. And in terms of my life and the way that like, we're a small company. We're 25 people, but that's certainly something that is like really, really important to kind of our spirit and just who we are. That I think that summarizes a lot of it.
That was powerful. We probably should.
Let's
just end it.
That's how we end it.
Yeah, because that I think is so much of the message that we try to get across here. So, listen, thank you guys both for coming.
Thanks for the invite.
Thank you.
I
Guys.
hope we could do this again. These infinite objects were amazing, and just we're looking forward to 2023 and what you guys are going to bring, and
keep building.
Keep building, yeah. And with that,
same. I mean, we're following I'm following your lead.
No, I was not my lead. Deeze's lead.
And your lead too.
And Joe's lead.
We're just the blind leading the blind.
Yeah, exactly. With that, Deeze, anything else or?
No, I mean, thanks just for coming and vibing with us. This is great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Right.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Boom.